I'm Leslie Cherry from Creative Exchange Studios. We're in the Portview Trade Centre, which used to be an old linen mill on the Newtonards Road in Belfast. We're here to talk about the Art in the Eastside billboard project. And this year we took in 26 billboard and poster sites, and it was a way for Creative Exchange to bring art right out into the outdoors, into the people's doorsteps. The first 2 years it had been part of the Queen's Festival, but we just thought it would be nice to tie it in with the East Belfast Arts Festival, seeing it was their inaugural year. And I mean, we've been based in East Belfast for the past 16 years, so I mean, it's very much our home. We do a lot of our work about East Belfast for the community. This exhibition of all the billboards is open until Friday the 21st. It's part of Culture Night as well. Culture Night's expanding into East Belfast, so we've opened our studios, and this exhibition will be open on Friday as well between 4 and 6, just specifically for Culture Night. This was an artist called Leo Boyd, and it's called Mecha Kong versus Belfast. And it's just a fun sort of idea of like a big metal King Kong type figure, you know, coming to East Belfast, you know, being bigger than the cranes. You know, a lot of people think probably there's nothing bigger than the cranes in East Belfast, and they're iconic. So it was really a fun piece, and we thought it was, you know, it doesn't all have to be seriously high art. You know. This is my piece. It's called I'm Not a White Horse, and it was basically a response to the murals that I would have grown up with, which would have been very specifically, you know, King Billy on his white horse, which always fascinated me, the horse more than the King Billy part of it, and it's a recurrent theme in my work. So this was taken, it's actually a Cindy horse painted white with some banners in that, and a pair of white shoes, one pristine and nice and clean, and one completely wrecked, so it's like the before and after. This piece is by Deirdre Robb, and as I mentioned before, the brief was, you know, social, cultural, historic, and the rope works was based here as well as a lot of other mills, including the one that we're in. And it was about the amount of women who worked in the mills, who were like paid less than the men, worked as much and as many hours, and were highly skilled. So this was her comment on the millies, which everybody in Belfast is called a millie, and it's sometimes a derogatory term. But I mean, the mills and the linen works and the rope works and the shipyard wouldn't really have survived without them. You know, so this was her comment on it, which we thought was very nice and fitting, seeing that our studios is based in one of these old mills. This photograph is by the photographer Geordie Robb, and it's called The Weight, and it's basically a photograph of looking through bandsmen's legs, and it came from an idea, a reminiscence that he had as a child, waiting for the bands to start playing. So it was his view as a child looking through bandsmen's legs, and just at the top of it you see the edge of the flute, and you know, it was different layers as well. You know, that the waiting on the bands playing as a child, you didn't think anything of it. It was seeing the bands, but now obviously there's a whole other issues surrounding parades and bands, and this was, again, it was his response. Geordie came from East Belfast as well, and this was his comment, and I suppose it's more social and cultural aspect of the brief that he picked out, but it's quite a strong image and makes people think. This piece is by artist Dee Craig, who again comes from East Belfast. Dee, you know, known as a community and mural painter really, and he's really breaking into the art world now as a painter in his own right, and this piece is called Linacea, from a whole series of imagery of women, again relating to women who worked in the mills, and he paints them on linen as well. So there's that reference. So they're very strong, iconic. I suppose it picks up again in the social history as well, which is what Deirdre did with her Millie's piece as well. This one's by Colin Davis as well. Again, master printmaker. He's taken imagery of Geordie Best and done his own inevitable thing to it. Very unique in how he produces these prints on aluminium and using photographic techniques. Colin's aunt and uncle lived in the Craigie estate, so when he was growing up, Geordie Best's mum and dad and all still lived around the corner, and he was so sort of fascinated by this, that someone so famous and had such a high profile was like came from where he came from, and sort of a wee bit awe-inspired. So this was sort of his tribute to George Best, and he's just called it Belfast Boy. And again, it's one of those images that everybody's used to seeing George Best, but he's done that his own style on it and taken it to a different visual art level.